morning. Mr. Tehorst and I are doing a pre-election analysis of how the campaign is going so far. Mr. Tehorst is on the Fremantle electorate ballot paper as an independent. I'm on the Willagee electorate as an independent. We have other independents that we're supporting. We've got Mr. Mangini in South Perth. There's a few others as well, but we're going to talk about some other things, are we? So what do you want to talk about first? We had a forum. Mr. Tehorst had a forum to attend in Fremantle on Tuesday, the 26th of February, and that's the forum there. Also, I had a forum on Thursday, the 28th of February, and we're just doing a bit of an analysis of that forum. Do you want to talk about yours first? The Fremantle forum?
Notre Dame University.
Yeah. What did you want to tell the public about that?
The 26th.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. What did you want to tell the public? They did a write-up in the Herald, and part of the problem in politics today is print journalism is really not journalism, it's political propaganda, isn't it? Across the whole country, really. And it's the editors of the paper's fault.
Even political discrimination.
That's right. There were 6 candidates at the forum. Andrew Sullivan, Matthew Hanson, Adele Carles, Sana Andrew, Simone McGurk and Jan Tehorst. Now, the journalist did an analysis of the forum, and every candidate commentary is mentioned,
well,
except Jan. And I want you to tell the public what really happened at this forum. So
yes, at one stage, all the candidates were asked a question that if you are elected, what would you do for Fremantle? So I recommended that the first thing we do is we get a new mayor, a more mature person, a businessman, because we have over 100 shops, empty shops in Fremantle. So that was suggestion number 1. Suggestion number 2...
That was your suggestion?
I'm sorry?
That was your suggestion?
Yes.
Yeah.
The second suggestion was business is booming, or seemed to be booming on Saturdays and Sundays, but during the week Fremantle is dead. So I suggested and recommended that we, and I would fight for, that we have free parking in Fremantle from Monday to Friday, and just charge people over the weekend for parking. The other recommendation I suggested, or made a suggestion for, is when you go over the Cappuccino Strip or Market Street, you are behind a bus. There is a pile-up of cars, about 10 or more, waiting for the bus to unload and load passengers. What I would suggest is that we get proper parking bay, a bay for the bus to get off the main road, and then do the loading and unloading, so the traffic can continue on the Cappuccino Strip or Market Street, wherever it is. People seem to applaud. They applauded me for it.
You got applauded. How many times did you get applauded?
Well, on this occasion I was applauded, and I was applauded on another occasion.
Good.
But now all the candidates...
So hang on, what was the other occasion that you were applauded for?
I think it was to do with the justice system, my opening address. You know.
Yeah.
But like I said, all the people I mentioned...
So this journalist didn't write anything about Mr. Tehorst, what he said in the forum. He wrote, everything he wrote was about the other 5
all
candidates.
the other candidates, that's right.
And you got applauded twice, once about talking about your vision for Fremantle, and secondly about questions about the justice, the comments that you made about the justice system,
yeah,
which in particular you have a really strong interest in, about having reform in the justice system. With what were you saying? Did you want to tell the public about your ideas about that? What? What
Well,
was it you were saying about that?
I suggested that yeah, we should have a new. As a matter of fact, I said to the court that the Corruption Crime Commission was corrupt. We need a new institution that will look after victims of crime. There are thousands and thousands of victims of crime in this state. They got nowhere to turn to. So I suggested a truth commission or a commission where you can complain about judges, corrupt local government, etc., etc.
And a commission that is panelled by citizens of the state, not what Labor was promoting was a commission where you could complain about judges and other government officials. But they were going to head it by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Commissioner of Police. So they wanted the panel to be headed by the very people that the public would be potentially complaining about. That's totally not effective.
I suggested that it should be an independent judiciary panel.
Yeah.
Not what was recommended in the newspapers. But I think the reason why I have been the media ban on Jan, the reason why I believe I've been silenced, I did not spend any money with the Fremantle Herald. Here are 6 people that are, 5 of them, that are running for the seat of Fremantle. They've all spent thousands and thousands of dollars with the Fremantle Herald. Jan de Horst is not one of them. I did not spend any money with the Herald, because I'm a low-key candidate, I'm a whistleblower, and whistleblowers will never be...
Well, you don't want to spend money, you know, promoting print media. That's my position. Print media, print journalists, and it's the editor's fault of the paper, they are absolutely politically biased. It's political propaganda. You know, there's some of the stuff they've written for me is absolute garbage. And the fact that they didn't even mention anything Mr. de Horst said is evidence of political bias, of propaganda. So out of all media service throughout the most important media service throughout the world is YouTube. Because YouTube allows free political speech and communication. It allows free civil and political speech. And the most politically biased form of media is print journalism, and then you've got the corporate media, television media, paid corporate so-called news. That's political propaganda as well. That's political bias, because it's just promoting the same corrupt politicians, Labor and Liberal, and there's nothing constitutional about Labor and Liberal, the two-party preferred. There's absolutely nothing constitutional about it. There is no government in office and then an opposition. There is nothing constitutional about it. In fact, I have a book which is in my briefcase, but it's a report, an analysis of 5 parliamentary committees over a period of about 15 years in the Commonwealth Parliament, who wrote a report on the Constitution, and they admitted in this report that the position of Prime Minister is not even stated in our Constitution. So the federal politicians don't follow the Constitution, and the perpetuation of a two-party preferred, the Liberal-Labor charade, what I call the Liberal-Labor charade, is totally not constitutional. And what the corporate media has done, and the politicians, the current politicians and the past politicians and the corporate media, is they have disempowered the constituent. They have disempowered the voter, haven't they?
That's correct.
They have disempowered the citizen. And even Attorney Generals across the country are using tax money to destroy the civil and political rights in Australia. I've got absolute evidence of that, so much evidence of it. In fact, a letter currently in regards to my court case, political signage, and there's Liberal parties got political signage all over the state of Western Australia because on the front fences, posters and candidates' faces and boards over the front fences of people's property and on people's property, because they got an injunction from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court They got Wayne Martin, the
Yeah.
Chief Justice of the
Yeah,
Supreme
Chief
Court.
Justice.
Wayne Martin gave the Liberal Party, they walked into the Supreme Court, gave the Liberal Party an injunction to stop the councils taking the signs off private properties, what they had put on political signage on private properties. And a second judge, Kenneth Martin, extends the injunction for the Liberal Party. But for me, in my Supreme Court case, 1091 of 2012, the judge lets the Attorney Generals across the country to file a submission against my appeal. That's what they did.
Make a decision on your case.
But my judge invoked Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903 and let the Attorney Generals across Australia to file a submission against my appeal in the Supreme Court. But they didn't invoke it for the Liberal Party. The Chief Justice, absolute corruption. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court did not invoke Section 78B of the Judiciary Act for the Liberal Party. Instead, he gave him an injunction to stop the councils taking the political signage off the fences. And now there's political signage for the Liberal Party all over the state.
Well, they wanted to put it on my property as well.
Well, one of the candidates, Matthew Hanson, wrote a letter.
Yeah, here it is.
Have you got a copy of that letter?
That was the letter I gave you.
Yeah, you gave it to me. So,
Anyway, to finalise my case with the Heralds, I feel I have been discriminated against by the Fremantle Herald. Political freedom of speech.
Because you won't pay thousands of dollars of advertising to print media for that. But that letter, yeah. So, Mr. De Horst gets 2 applauses for your commentary on different issues, and nothing is written about it. It's propaganda, and journalists are just as accountable for perpetuating this corruption, corrupt politicians throughout the country, and especially the editors of papers, and also the corporate media spewing out the version of the news. And the citizens of Australia have got no civil and political rights. They're using your tax money to destroy your civil and political rights. And I've got evidence of it right here.
Well, this is the evidence of the media.
Yeah, what does that say? The truth and nothing but the truth. Do you want to read that out? You read it out to the public.
Yes, this is a letter that was sent to me by a gentleman called Paul Dickinson in 2002. The truth and nothing but the truth. There's no such thing at this date of the world history in America as an independent press. You know it and I know it. There is not one of you who dares to write your honest opinions. And if you did, you would know beforehand that it would never appear in print. I am paid weekly for my honest opinions out of the paper, and I am collected with. Others of you are paid similar salaries for similar things, and any of you who would do so foolish as to write your honest opinion would be out on the street looking for another job. If I allowed my honest opinions to appear in one issue of my paper, before 24 hours my occupation would be gone. The business of a journalist is to destroy the truth, to lie outright, to pervert, to vilify, to fawn at the fate of mammon, and to sell his country and his race for his daily bread. You know it, and I know it. We are the tools, the vessels for rich men behind the scenes. We are the jumping jacks. They pull the strings and we dance. Our talents, our possibilities, our lives are all the property of other men. We are intellectual prostitutes. John Swinton, former chief of the New York Times, addressing fellow journalists at the New York Press Club. Thank you.
Well, I'm not an intellectual prostitute because I speak my mind. And that's the commitment to the constituents of Australia that I have, to speak my mind and to fight for your rights and your freedoms as citizens. That's a great leader. That's what makes a great leader. Now, this corruption going on about the political signage, absolutely horrific. And how obvious. Court backs Liberals over council's sign ban. January the 22nd, 2013. That's the West Australian. Yeah, the WA Liberal Party has won a Supreme Court injunction against the City of Armidale that will allow it to display political signs on private property for the state election campaign in a ruling that could have big implications for political advertising statewide. The City of Armidale's town planning scheme bans electoral signs, and the council ordered signs advertising the Liberal candidate for Armidale to be taken down on December 17. But the Liberal Party State Director Ben Morton launched a Supreme Court challenge on the grounds that the ban infringed the implied right to free political communication in the Australian Constitution. After an urgent application heard in the absence of lawyers for Armidale because of the Christmas break, Chief Justice Wayne Martin, that's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, granted an injunction on December the 24th. Nice Christmas present there for the Liberal Party.
Yeah, but not for you.
But not for me. Preventing the council. And I deserved it because I'm a Christian. So I deserved it. Anyway, granted an injunction on December the 24th, preventing the council removing the signs on a property at the corner of Leafroy Road and Albany Highway in Mount Azura. That injunction was extended on Friday by Justice Kenneth Martin, so there's a second Supreme Court judge, until the matter goes to trial. The council's law prohibits all election signs unless they are displayed at polling places within 24 hours of the closing of voting on election day. They don't have the right to do that. Not even a constitutional organisation, the council. They can't make demands like that. Justice Martin said there was a strong arguable case that the City of Armidale's laws were a contravention of the implied constitutional freedom of political communication. Mr Morton said the Liberal Party believed people should be free to communicate their support for political candidates by displaying signs on their private property. We didn't want to seek an injunction, but we had to. The decision of Justice Wayne Martin supports the view of the Liberal Party that these constraints on electoral signs are unjustifiable fetters on free political communication and arbitrarily discriminate based on the contents of the signs. And
by the way, there's a similar case in Gosnell, which is also in the court.
Yeah, it's the same.
I gave you a copy.
It's the Liberal Party.
Again, so there are three cases, I think, in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the WA Liberal Party, Liberals take on second council over
Gosnell's
ad ban. The Liberal Party has launched its second Supreme Court challenge against local governments that ban political signs of private property for the state election campaign. The party has challenged the validity of the City of Gosnell's town planning scheme that prohibits political signs except those of a certain size within 28 days of an election. All these rules of the councils are invalid under the Constitution. It also has challenged a council planning document that does not allow third-party advertising. The party argues the bans impinge on the implied constitutional right to free political communication. The action against Gosnells comes after the Liberal Party won an injunction against the City of Armidale last month to allow it to continue to display signs after the council ordered they be removed. The two test cases could have big implications for political advertising in WA. Chief Justice Wayne Martin said yesterday the City of Gosnells had written to the party saying it could apply to erect signs but it need not bother because it conflicted with its policy. He said he was keen to deal with the Gosnells challenge on a permanent basis. But for me, they invoked Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903.
And you've got to wait
it's
for all
total corruption in the Supreme Court.
You've got to wait for all the Attorney Generals Australia-wide to give their opinion on your case.
Yeah, because here are the orders. Right, here we go. You know, talking about setting up a judicial a commission to complain about judges. These judges should be sacked for this. the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court should be sacked because it is total corruption. You've got two judges giving injunctions for the Liberal Party and one judge, a different judge for me, giving the Attorney Generals of the whole country an opportunity to file submission against my appeal in the Supreme Court.
So you're getting a different judgment compared to the other two.
I'm getting a totally different judgment. You know, they can walk in the Supreme Court, get hearings with the Chief Justice and get what they want. And what they've done to me is corrupt. And they should have invoked Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903 against the Liberal Party because that's what they did to me. And here's the orders of Judge Hall, 29th of January 2013. I had my hearing back in October the 22nd of 2012. And so not only have they made me wait all this time, they have allowed the Attorney Generals to file a submission, but they didn't do it to the Liberal Party. So the orders were given a copy of the court's letter to me and to be sent to the Attorney Generals of the Commonwealth and of the States upon the appellant seeking to raise matters arising under the Constitution or involving its interpretation, Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903, therefore applying. It is ordered that the letter that was sent to me, this letter, be sent to the Attorney Generals of the Commonwealth and of the States. 2. A copy of a prosecution notice from the Magistrates Court. B. The Magistrates Court transcript dated 23rd of July 2012. C. Written submissions of the appellant dated 5th of November 2012 and the written submissions of the respondent dated 9th of November 2012. To be attached to the letters referred to in the order. And then Order 3, within 14 days of service of these orders, each of the Attorney Generals of the Commonwealth and of the States notify the Court of any intention to intervene in this matter of SJA 1091 of 2012 or to seek its removal to the High Court of Australia. Okay, so the Attorney Generals responded, the Attorney General of South Australia, I refer to your letter 29th of January 2013 and advise that the Attorney General for the State of South Australia does not wish to intervene in this matter. Attorney General for Queensland.
Why should they interfere in an issue here in WA? It's crazy.
Well, why should they interfere on my rights, civil and political rights, when
you don't live in the States, you live in WA. And
when the Liberal Party in Western Australia has already obtained, or at Christmas, an injunction from the head of the Supreme Court and a second judge, Kenneth Martin. So they get an injunction to do what they want, and as a result of their injunction, the Liberal candidate for Fremantle, Matthew Hanson, sent a letter to all constituents. We need your help to build the momentum for the Liberal campaign in Fremantle. The state election on March the 9th, 2013 is not going to be anywhere near as easy as many in the public believe for the Liberals to retain power, with a number of factors edging Labor's way. It would be a boost to win seats like Fremantle to ensure that Colin Barnett remains Premier and the Liberals win the state election. There are a number of ways you can get involved in what will be a strongly fought campaign. Specifically, I'm asking people to allow a small yard sign to be tied up to your fence.
And your neighbours, and the neighbours.
Or in a stake planted in your front garden to help promote my campaign. Also, if you know someone else, a friend or neighbour, who would be willing to assist with having a sign in their yard, that would help too. Our team will pick up and drop off the signs and ask where you would like them to be put. Every sign that goes up gets us closer to winning Fremantle. We already have a number of places where signs have gone up, but we need a lot more. Your assistance in our campaign would be greatly appreciated. Because they got an injunction from the Supreme Court, and now confirmed for me, all over the state of Western Australia, there's Fremantle candidate signs in our electorate. The Willagee candidate, Liberal candidate's got signs up. Dean Nolder and Alfred Coe's got signs up on people's front fences. Is that true?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything in the paper.
Armidale area, Gosnells area. Yeah. Okay, but look what they're doing to me. You know, look what they're doing to me.
Well, it seems that local
Absolute corruption.
It seems that
Sad.
local governments got more power than the state, because the local government are overriding the state government.
Yeah, but the local government can't do that. They have the least amount of power of the three levels of government, and they're not even in the constitution, so they've got really no power at all. But the judges are corrupt in this case because, well, the Solicitor General of Queensland says, I refer to your letter dated the 29th January 2013 and the enclosed orders of Justice Hall. It's Honourable Justice Hall. I'm not going to call them honourable. This is not honourable what's happening here. The matter has been examined and you advise that the Attorney General for the State of Queensland will not be intervening in the proceedings.
Why should they?
However, should the matter proceed to the High Court, the Attorney General will reconsider the question of intervention.
What a crazy decision by this judge to ask all states to give an opinion.
New South Wales, Attorney General and Justice, New South Wales. Notice pursuant to Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903. Teresa Angela Van Lieshout versus City of Fremantle. Supreme Court proceeding SJA 1091/2012. I refer to your email dated 31st of January because I sent them an email telling them if they were going to file a submission, I'll tell the whole country. Concerning a notice under Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903. The matter has been referred to the New South Wales Crown Solicitor and you will be notified directly of the Attorney General's decision regarding intervention. Well, they didn't send one within the 14 days, so they don't get a say. And here's one from the Commonwealth Attorney General, who was Nicola Roxon. Now it's, what's the guy's name?
The new one. I don't know.
Mark, whatever his name is. I'll write his name on the caption. This is what they've decided to do in this case. Van Lieshout versus the City of Fremantle, Supreme Court of WA, SJA 1091/2012. 1. Please find and close a copy of the letter we sent on behalf of the Commonwealth Attorney General to the Supreme Court of WA in relation to the above proceeding. The Commonwealth Attorney General will not be intervening in this proceeding in the Supreme Court of WA, nor will he be applying to remove the cause from that court to the High Court. If the proceeding is taken further on appeal or is removed to the High Court, the Attorney General might decide to intervene at that stage. This would be considered upon the receipt of the appropriate notice under Section 78B of the Judiciary Act. We've already received the notice, so there's the appropriate.
What a total waste of time.
What a gratuitous waste of tax money.
That's right.
This is a gratuitous waste of your tax money. And I'll tell you
It
what.
is giving you the runaround. Yeah, they're giving you the runaround.
And the only Attorney General across Australia who's going to intervene is Michael Mischin, a Liberal Party politician.
Yeah.
Spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax money of Western Australians to destroy my civil and political rights when they got an injunction from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. That is absolute corruption. I write further to the above mentioned matter, refer to the orders made by the Justice Hall on the 29th of 2013, my letter accompanying. This is from the State Solicitor's Office. By letter dated 14th of February, the Attorney General for the State of Western Australia has advised that he intends to intervene in the matter pursuant to Section 78A of the Judiciary Act 1903. Please find attached further orders of the court affecting the intervention. This is from the Supreme Court. So, Michael Mischin, you're a corrupt pig.
He's a Liberal.
You deserve to lose your seat. What is it, Joondalup? And you deserve to, I reckon you deserve to be jailed for this, for what you're doing. You're spending millions of dollars of tax money, and furthermore the court has ordered, upon application of the appellant for leave to appeal against conviction, upon notices issuing to the Attorney Generals of the Commonwealth and of the States pursuant to Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903, and upon the Attorney General for Western Australia intervening pursuant to Section 78A of that Act, there being no other interveners, it is ordered that 1. The Attorney General for Western Australia be named as intervener pursuant to Section 78A of the Judiciary Act 1903. That's a Liberal Attorney General, Michael Mischin. And his party got an injunction from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So how corrupt is that? And the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the second Judge, Kenneth Martin, did not make the Liberal Party, did not invoke Section 78B of the Judiciary Act against the Liberal Party, did not force them to be subjected to the Attorney Generals across the country to file a submission against their application, did they? Because of course a Liberal Party Attorney General would not file an application against his own party. And the second order, which is also corrupt in my view, within 14 days of the High Court of Australia delivering judgment in the matter of Attorney General for the State of South Australia versus the Corporation of the City of Adelaide and others.
And others, does that include you?
No, it's the Corneloup brothers and others, A16 of 2012, being an appeal from the full court of the Supreme Court of South Australia in the matter of the Corporation of the City of Adelaide versus Corneloup 2011, SASC FC 84. The Attorney General for Western Australia filed and served written submissions in respect of the constitutional issues raised in these proceedings. That's my case. And 3. Order 3. Within 14 days of service of the Attorney General's written submissions, that's Michael Mischin, Attorney General, Liberal politician in Western Australia. The parties have leave to file and serve written submissions in response to those of the Attorney General. So I get to file another submission.
What a waste of time.
In response to the Attorney General's submission. The West Australian Liberal Party, Michael Mischin, Attorney General. He's the only Attorney General who's intervening in this case. And yet, this was not done for the Liberal Party. They just walked in and got an injunction, didn't they? And now there's political signage all over the state. It's total corruption. The head of the Supreme Court should lose his job. Kenneth Martin should lose his job. This judge should lose his job over this. The Attorney General of Western Australia should be voted out of the seat of Joondalup, and they are using millions of dollars of tax money. And I'll tell you the background of this case, that this judge is given within 14 days of the High Court of Australia delivering judgment in the matter of the Corneloup, the Corporation of the City of Adelaide versus the Corneloup brothers.
Corporation.
Yeah.
Joke too.
That's what they name themselves in a Supreme Court and a High Court hearing. The Corporation of the City of Adelaide. It's not a corporation. It exists under the Local Government Act, and that's it. It's not even recognised in the Constitution. But what they're doing, 2 Christian men in South Australia preaching the gospel in public, 3 Supreme Court judges in South Australia ruled in favour of the Christian brothers. They ruled in favour of the men preaching the New Testament in public. And they ruled against the council, the corporation of the City of Council, which is total corruption, obviously. The 3 judges ruled against it. And then the Attorney General of South Australia and Western Australia, including Michael Mischin, New South Wales, Queensland, the Attorney Generals of Queensland, New South Wales, the Attorney Generals of Victoria, and the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Australia, using your tax money, took this case to the High Court, spending millions of dollars of your tax money, taking it to the High Court to destroy the civil and political rights of these two men in South Australia. And they want to do the same thing to me. And what they are doing, they are using your tax money, Attorney Generals across Australia, using your tax money, using Section 78B of the Judiciary Act 1903, including some of the judges invoking it, to destroy your civil and political rights as a citizen of Australia. And at the same time, the Liberal Party walks into the Supreme Court in WA and gets an injunction from the Chief Justice. So they're invoking Section 78B of the Judiciary Act against citizens in Australia, using your tax money to invoke it against citizens, destroying your civil and political rights, and promoting the civil and political rights of the political parties of the Liberal Party.
Well, can I go back to my
corruption?
If I can go back to my case, my house, as you know, is heritage listed.
Yeah.
Now, on the heritage documents, it states that the political signage are of significance to the heritage of the building. The Fremantle Council have dragged me through the courts in Fremantle for about 40, 50 times.
Yeah. That's right.
No freedom of speech. Our democracy is dead. And local governments got far too much power. They're power drunk, and they seem to have more power than the state government.
Yeah, they got it's communism, because if you've got localised government enforcing. Well, that's all right. I'm happy.
Because people won't read it.
Yeah, they will. They've been watching our stuff. It's fine. They can study it. They've been watching a lot of our stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, I've said my bit. I'll leave you this.
Well, can I just make a comment on what you said?
Yeah,
it's really important.
It's your...
That the councils, local... it's like communism. It's local government enforcing their control on citizens in their own homes. So it's very localised control of the citizen, and that's communism. And so for years and years, Mr. Horse has been persecuted really by the government, you know, victim of government crime. I'm a victim of government crime, and thousands of other Australians are as well. And that destroying Mr. Horse's civil and political rights, and yet making orders in favour of the Liberal Party. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court doesn't get more corrupt than that, I'm sorry.
Well, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Well, it's very deliberate, and they're using tax money to destroy Mr. Horse's rights, destroy my rights, destroy thousands of other citizens' rights, the men in South Australia. They've actually gone to the High Court. They've actually did not respect the decision of the 3 judges in the Supreme Court who ruled in favour of the citizens' free political speech and religious freedom. They went to the High Court using your tax money. These Attorney Generals, politicians, Liberal and Labor politicians, I've got them on our YouTube, I've named them, I'll name them again, are totally corrupt, using your tax money to destroy your rights. They should be jailed for this.
I think they're also incompetent. They don't want to make those decisions. They want to make those vital decisions to somebody else.
They want to make decisions for... They are making decisions to perpetuate political and judicial corruption. Using your tax money to do it. The people who are powerful, who've got all the power, continuing to get the orders in their favour and using Australian tax money to do it. At the same time, destroying the civil and political rights of citizens who have no power. I have power as a teacher, I'm a political candidate, but I can guarantee you that I fight for the rights of the citizens of Australia, and I don't do what these corrupt people do. So, you know, this is the orders from the court. Every Attorney General in the country, the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Australia, the Attorney General of New South Wales, the Attorney General of the State of Queensland, Attorney General of South Australia, Attorney General of Tasmania, Attorney General of Victoria and the Attorney General of Western Australia were all given an opportunity to file a submission against my appeal. And the only one that's taken it on is the West Australian one, obviously. So he's totally corrupt. But they've all doing it at the moment in the High Court, in a High Court case, the Corneloup brothers, in which this judge gives them an opportunity to wait for the judgment, which is illegal. How can you continue to prolong a case pending the judgment of another case that is still
in a different state
in the High Court from a different state, pending the outcome of that case? We're waiting to see what happens there before they decide to hammer me again. But they've already given it an order for the Liberal Party, you know, using your tax money. This is just total corruption.
Why not wait what they're doing in China or in Russia and then make a decision after that?
It's Nazism.
How stupid can you be?
This is Nazism. You know, our politicians are killing our citizens with psychiatric practice. That's murder.
They're incompetent and corrupt.
They are allowing psychiatrists, the politicians, to lock people up forcibly and forcibly kill them with treatments, forcibly locking people up and killing people with dangerous treatments and drugs. And now they want to target children in Western Australia, and they want to give ECT and psychosurgery to children as young as 12, and now they've changed it to 14 because of public pressure. And the people in the Western world are saying what's happening in Western Australia with this proposed bill is worse than anything they've seen before in regards to psychiatry, and it's Nazism. Politicians in Australia, Nazis. Psychiatrists, Nazis. Killing your children and your relatives with dangerous treatments and dangerous drugs and trying to cover it up. And I've been fighting for a Royal Commission for over a year. They should be all jailed for this. Destroying the education system. Using your tax money to destroy your civil and political rights. And giving injunctions to the Liberal Party. All the politicians should be put before a civil judiciary of the citizens, and they should be put under judgment, including the judges. They should actually get rid of You know what? We should get rid of judges and magistrates, and we should have court mediators, lawyers who mediate court hearings, and juries, citizens who sit on cases, whether it's murder cases, criminal cases or civil cases, and have juries of citizens who decide, who make the decision, and not these corrupt judges who are getting paid too much money.
Professionals, there should be independent professional people who do the judgment, because the judges are totally incompetent as far as I'm concerned. My incompetent, negligent barrister,
it's a question of morality.
Is now a
they
judge.
don't have any morals.
He's now a
They've
judge
lost
at the
their
courts.
morality.
Now the Fremantle Council tried to put me in a mental institution as well. I mean, how corrupt is the system? I came to this country to start a new life.
That's political socialism.
I came to this country to start a new life. And for the past 25 years, they've totally tried to destroy me and put me in a mental institution. And I've been in 4 different jails for contempt of court. How dare you stand up for your rights?
They put people in those places for political reasons and sociological reasons, and that's it. It is Nazism. It is absolute Nazism. And it's not, the judges can be intelligent, but they've lost their morality. It's a question of morality. They have lost their morality. And the evidence is they will give orders for politicians in the Liberal Party
But not for you.
But not for a citizen. And they will invoke laws to destroy your civil and political rights. Use your tax money and give attorney generals across the country the chance to destroy your civil and political rights.
Yeah. Which should have been done here in WA, not in the
The
East.
Chief Justice of the Supreme Court should be sacked.
That gutless people.
And it should be put before a judiciary, a panel of civilians, a jury of civilians, and make a judgment on this. Do you deserve to go to jail for this? Yes. Do you deserve to go to jail for using tax money to destroy our rights? Yes. Do corrupt judges deserve to go to jail for doing this? Yes. It's absolutely corrupt. I'm a teacher. And those politicians are destroying the rights of teachers across the whole country. They're destroying parents' rights across the country. And the teachers and the parents and the citizens of our country, we have to fight for our rights and our freedoms. And to say enough is enough of this corruption. And to say no to these Nazi orders. You know, they can go to hell. You can all go to hell for this. You know, they're murdering my brother. If they don't stop what they're doing, I'm going to get them for murder for that.
Finish it.
I'll go on and on about it. Tell the whole world.
Yeah,
eh?
We said our bit. It's up to people to...
People have to fight with us and help us. There are heaps of people helping us. You know, a lot of people that are helping me are coming to me for help. They're killing them. They're getting locked up.
Yeah,
the lady was helping me give out flyers the other day. She's locked up in Midland Psychiatric Facility now. You know, you're locking people up, killing them with your treatments to stop them being political. You should all be jailed for life. The key thrown away.
There are thousands of people that are crying out for help, that had their lives destroyed by corrupt local government, judges, you name it.
Government workers.
And to get justice in
politicians.
To get justice in WA, you have to be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, you have to be a multi-millionaire, or you have to be the state director of the Liberal Party, or you have to be, you know, you have money. That's it. You can't even get a fair hearing unless you've got money. That's the first problem. The first problem is if you file for a hearing in a court, district court or Supreme Court or a magistrate court, it should be free for citizens.
Well, the only people that can get legal aid are criminals. But when you're a victim like myself, not having committed any crime, haven't been thrown in 4 different jails, had my life, business, family destroyed, I cannot get legal aid.
Yeah, you're an innocent citizen, an innocent victim of government crime. And who are the judges working for? Who are the magistrates working for? They're working for corrupt politicians. They're working for government lawyers.
That's right.
They're working for corporate lawyers. That's it. The
That's
citizen hasn't got a hope in hell in Australia.
You can
in the judiciary. As a teacher, educated, okay, I had a bit of money to file some applications. As a teacher, they treated me like absolute garbage. because I'm educated, because I knew the law, because I used the legislation and I was competent, and they still treated me like rubbish. So I think we should get rid of judges and magistrates and have court mediators who are lawyers and have citizens, civilians, who sit as juries in court cases and have a lot more mediation going, and any citizen or any case or any citizen that's dragged before a court by a government or by government lawyers or corporate lawyers must have a lawyer representing them. How many Aboriginal people get thrown before the court? They don't have lawyers helping them. Or other poor people in Australia get thrown before the court by the government and have no lawyer to help them or defend them. Even one of our members got fined $1,500 by a court judge, the same court judge in the Supreme Court. $1,500 she was fined in her absence by corrupt charges that were brought against her allegedly for a traffic offence, and she proved to them that it wasn't her. And she wasn't there, she was locked up in a psychiatric facility. And the judge in her absence ordered her to pay $1,500. It's totally corrupt. It's not a judicial system, it's just Nazism. It's the rich people controlling the parliament and the same people controlling the same corrupt politicians and their families, controlling the parliament and controlling the courts, and it's feudalism, treating the people like rubbish, you know.
Well,
it's just Nazism, it's Nazism.
I'm 75 years old. I came to this country to start a new life. I've had my life destroyed by the system, and I'm disgusted. I used to trust people, and if I shook hands with anybody, that was my bond. I would keep my word. But today, in today's society, we can no longer trust anybody. No longer trust anybody. Not even lawyers.
Trust the citizens. Oh, I trust the citizens. I trust the constituents of our country. I trust the people coming to me for help, obviously. I trust, you know, you're right. You can't trust the government officials. You can't trust the journalists. You can't trust the corporate media. You have to create your own media. You know, the only true media in the world is YouTube, really, because it's free and it allows people to express their civil and political views.
Just to finalise, to do with my case, my 25-year fight with the corrupt system, I sold my land,
it's the people
and the last instalment that was supposed to be paid to me was $44,000. It was paid to the courts, and I've never seen the $44,000 again.
That's the original sale of your land.
So I've never been paid in full for the sale of my land, and thrown in jail like a criminal.
Yeah.
And the 44,000 have gone missing.
It's Nazism, it's also convictism. And I've got a block of land in New South Wales, they're trying to steal that, the government's trying to steal that. Because it's extortion, the rates that they're charging is absolute extortion. So they steal everything from me, the government workers will steal, the politicians are thieves, they're murderers and they're thieves. They are. And I can prove it with a Royal Commission, no problem.
Oh, let's call it the end.